that it's always on the artist to just be authentic and create something that has meaning for them and hope that other people will find meaning in it.
This episode is brought to you by Bontica Films and Bontica.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Chat with Mick. And right next to me is a singer, songwriter, artist, and composer from the movie Love and Karma. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Thank you, Mick. It's nice to meet you.
Last night, we just saw the world premiere of Love and Karma, and I'm really amazed at how beautiful the songs are in that movie. And you're one of the composers.
Yes, thank you. I mean, my compositions I was very happy with, but also all the other ones in the movie. The movie really uses a lot of music, and I think the movie and the music, the story, they really come together in a way that's inextricable. The music from the story, and it was a great experience working on the film.
Well, how did you get involved in the movie?
Celeste, who else? I've been friends with Celeste for a long time, and she told me she was making this movie and she wanted to use some of my music in it. So it was that was inspiring to hear, and so I sent her some of the music that I was working on, and James Golding, who worked on the music for the film, and I collaborated, and I sent him some tracks, and he remixed some things, and it was a very interesting experience working with everyone on the film.
When you got involved with the movie, did you know the story? Did you have any kind of inkling on what it was going to be about? Were you briefed on what it was about?
A little bit. Early on, Celeste sent me a screenplay, the draft of the screenplay for the movie. And I've written screenplays and plays myself, so when I read it, I was very interested. It was a really good story, her story, and very compelling, and she wanted music to be an important part of it, to express the emotions, because there's some things that music expresses that words can't, and I think that they worked well in the film.
So when you compose something, when you write something, what comes first, the melody or the lyrics?
I think the melody works best to come first. Let the lyrics grow out of the melody rather than trying to force lyrics and melody together. When I was first starting to write songs, I would write the words and music separately and try to Frankenstein them together. But I think as I've grown as a writer, I recognize that melody works best as the foundation for the song.
And do you have to have formal background in music to be able to write a song?
No, I have no formal background in music, and I'm always encouraged that the Beatles didn't. John Lennon and Paul McCartney
That
and
is
George
so
Harrison,
true.
they didn't have formal training, so that's inspiring and makes you feel like I can create something without formal training. As time has gone by, I have studied music more, and it's an endlessly fascinating process making music, so I just love making music.
You mentioned that in the process of writing, did you begin to believe that formal training is essential?
I wouldn't say it's essential, but it's definitely helpful. The more you understand and the more you work with other musicians, you kind of learn from them what they have learned, either self-taught or educated. Every musician, I think, has their own approach, and you kind of absorb other people's approach and combine it with whatever other things influence your writing.
You mentioned the Beatles earlier. What are your musical influences? Were you a fan of the Beatles?
Oh, yes. The Beatles are the best to me. And music of that era and that genre are probably still my biggest influences. but I like almost every type of music from classical to country, rock, jazz. There are great compositions in many different forms of music. The Beatles, yeah, are still my favorite though.
So aside from the Beatles, who are your favorite artists?
The Kinks, the Ramones, the Who, Bob Dylan, the Grateful Dead, a lot of 60s kind of music, but I also like Taylor Swift and Billie Eilish and a lot of great music that's being done currently.
You mentioned the 60s. Were you part of the flower power movement, the hippies and all that?
Well, spiritually, I feel connected to them. I was a little young when all that was happening. I was just a little kid, but I think that it did kind of infuse the environment of the time. And I was very influenced by the hippies and then later the punks, the Clash and the Ramones and new wave music that was coming out in the 70s and 80s. So there's a common thread, I think, of a certain idealism in songwriting and writing about love and hopeful subjects. And this movie, Love and Karma, has a lot of hope in very dark times. You know, the characters are going through something hard, but finding hope in it. And love, which, you know, love and karma. And the love is the most important thing in life, I feel. And I think that the best songs talk about love, and why I think the Beatles are so great is because so many of their songs have to do with love and positive emotions. And I think it's part of an artist's job to uplift people with hopeful messages.
In the movie Love and Karma, there are moments of heartbreak and micro challenges in the middle of an arc, and the characters develop as time goes on. Within that frame of the story of Love and Karma, where were your songs inserted in the movie?
Yeah, there's one scene where Alessa and V are communicating long distance. They're like zooming with each other on their laptops. And my piece, The Crack of Dawn, is used there, and it's an instrumental piece. And it works really well to not have any words get in the way, I feel, at that moment. And I had never seen the movie until last night. I didn't know where my songs were going to fit in. And it was exciting to be watching a film just like you'd watch any other film, and then all of a sudden hear a piece of music. Oh, I recognize that. I wrote that, and see how it played with the characters. And that was a lot of fun.
Were you looking forward to see where those songs will show up?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was very interested to see that. And because James and I were performing before the movie, we played The Light in Your Eyes. I was mostly just concentrating on that performance and getting that right. So once the movie started, I could just relax and not think about performing. And then I really was looking for, oh, well, where are my songs? Plus James' songs and Honore's music. You know, I had heard them, and I didn't know where any of these pieces were going to come out in the film. So that was one of the fun parts of watching the film, was recognizing, oh, I know that song, and finding it in the movie. That was a lot of fun.
Were you involved in other films as well?
No, I've never done any kind of music for films. I've been making music a long time, but never used it in any kind of filming other than music videos, you know.
How different is writing or composing music for a film than when you're just singing in a live performance?
Well, it's interesting because I didn't really write music for this film. You know, I had the songs I just wrote as I write all my material, and Celeste and James kind of worked on integrating that with the film. But my music, unlike some of the other music, wasn't written for the film. It was just incorporated into the film.
In the movie, there are a lot of scenes that need musical scoring and all kinds of music reflecting the feelings and emotions in the various scenes. With The Crack of Dawn and Light in Your Eyes, what did you feel when you actually saw the movie and heard your songs?
Well, the light in your eyes, which I wrote about the light in my darling Nancy's eyes, it's a love song, so it meant a lot to me. And in the film, it's a scene with the two main characters falling in love, and to see that love is such a universal thing, that if you're writing from your experience of love, it will resonate in a lot of people's stories of their love. So that was fun to see those two characters and thinking of me and Nancy sharing that feeling of love.
In your personal experiences, what are those moments that stand out for you to want to write a song? Is there any kind of inspiration? I know Nancy, your wife, is one of them. Are there other experiences in your life?
Yes. She says no, but yes. Yeah. That song particularly, we were sitting on a porch at the Jersey Shore, and I was just playing around with the guitar, coming up with little pieces, and I saw her talking with her friend, and she was excited to be with her friend, and her eyes were lit up with the love for her friend, and the words just kind of started from that. I see the light in your eyes, and all experiences, I think, play into writing. And as I've been writing a long time, it's become easier to recognize when a feeling is worth developing into a lyric for a song, whether it's love or anger or frustration or hope. That you have to kind of channel whatever you're feeling and see if you can put that into words. Like The Crack of Dawn doesn't have any words, which was also fun to do instrumental pieces. But I think one of the challenges of writing lyrics is wrestling emotions into words, which are such small things sometimes for what they're trying to express.
When you're writing a song, there's certain emotions, right? And it's easier to put lyrics and express your feelings through words. But when it's an instrumental piece, how do you put together in the music? I know that major sevenths are really sweet and fun to listen
Right.
to, but for someone like me who doesn't know a lot of things about music theory or anything of that nature, how do you make it sound sad or heartbreaking? The movie has a lot of heartbreaking moments.
Yes, right. I think in general, to me, for whatever reason, the E minor is the saddest chord. And minor keys in general have more tension and sadness in them. And the major keys are more up. And even certain chords, like a G is a very happy sounding chord, a G major, like the E minor is a sad one. And I'm not even always thinking about it at the time. It just kind of comes naturally if you're coming up with a melody, whether it's a happy melody or a sad melody, that's where you put the lyrics to fit it.
You've had an experience of writing music for a film or getting your music incorporated into a film. Do you intend to write or be part of other film projects?
I would be happy to, and it is interesting to think about that in the moment of composition. Most of the songs I've written have just been for the songs themselves, but to think of it ahead of time or as you're creating it as something that could be used in a visual way, it makes it more interesting. And I can see writing a piece of music. I have written some pieces. I wrote a play a few years ago that was not a musical, and then I started to write some songs for the characters, and that was a fun exercise to maybe convert a play that I'd written into a musical version of it. I think music works very well with storytelling.
You've done a lot of exercises in trying to get music out. How do you keep the creative juices flowing?
I can't stop them. Sometimes it would be nice to. Sometimes I feel like a song will come to me and I'm like, I haven't even finished the last one yet. Wait a minute. Lately, the last few years, I've been very prolific like that. But I feel like at any moment it could end, and then, this vein will dry up. So when it's happening, you just have to ride the wave of where the muse is taking you at the moment.
Mm-hmm. And so earlier you had mentioned some artists who were performing in current time. So who are your current favorites?
Yeah, I think Taylor Swift is probably the best songwriter going right now. Every time she puts out a new album, I'm very impressed with her songwriting. She has a lot of talent as a musician and a singer, but it's the songwriting that I think is her greatest strength. And like rock music is kind of where I came from and developed musically, but I don't hear a lot of great new rock music right now. So I listen to older music, and I'm not inspired by too many contemporary artists right now, but that's probably my own fault. I need to. There's always good music. There's always great music being made, and sometimes it takes a little more work to get it into my ears.
Do you secretly or not so secretly think that a certain sound from the past will come back?
Oh, yes. Things, art and other things seem to go in cycles, politics. And I think that people are always rediscovering music from the past, from, something that was blues would influence psychedelia, and then jazz influenced progressive rock, and punk kind of stripped back to early rock and roll. There's always a cycle, I feel like, in music, like in life.
When you talk about musical styles and the general feeling of having music around you, what do you look forward to, or what do you wish the music industry could do at the moment?
The music industry, there's the business side of music, which doesn't have much appeal to me or interest for me. I think that it's always on the artist to just be authentic and create something that has meaning for them, and hope that other people will find meaning in it, find something they recognize in it emotionally. So you can't really ask the music industry to do anything because it's about making money. It doesn't care about art. So the artist has to care about the art. No one's going to care about it except for the artist and the audience.
What does Love and Karma, the movie, What is the main message in your opinion?
Well, to boil it down to the simplest thing of love conquers all, it's a timeless message. And like going back to Shakespeare, you take a timeless story and you see how many times Romeo and Juliet has been remade, like West Side Story versions, and there's always new versions of timeless stories. And I feel like Love and Karma has tapped into something timeless there with the story of two people's love, because the love between two people it's timeless, but it's always relevant and contemporary to the people who are feeling it in the moment.
Love and Karma is a very timeless and universal message for everyone.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me on. Thank you. This was a lot of fun.
We'll see you in the next episode of Chat with Mick. Bye.
Bye.